Me is Fuad Mia, my co-founder.
Hello, everyone, and a happy new year.
Yes, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that. It's been a while since we've been here, hasn't it?
It has, and today is the first day back, if I'm right, I believe, for most of us.
Well, you had a whirlwind vacation. I didn't really hear much from you, which is a rarity.
Actually, it was a very amazing and peaceful time I spent with family for a week,
Excellent.
and
Yeah, you need it.
I needed it. And Justin, that is right. You and I didn't talk much during these times.
I'm okay with it. We can hit 2023 with all that energy that we just built up back in the last 2 weeks.
And
So,
one
what are we
thing
talking about today? Oh, go ahead, Fuad.
I just wanted to share one thing I learned over the last few months is that if you learn to integrate work and life, it's a much better way of enjoying life than thinking about life and work balance. I think you get a better balance if you learn to properly integrate without compromising much.
Yeah, I think I heard that over the break as well. I forget who said that. I was just reading an article on the same thing. Whereas you see it as a circle, it's a lot easier than a cutoff date.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, what you're here for? Shaping Google Analytics 4 with business objectives. What does that mean, Fuad?
Well, as we as we work, as we implement Google Analytics 4, the most common theme that we see is it doesn't fit my business workflow, my business objectives, my the way I interact with customers. It doesn't really get all of those. The reflection of that is not truly the accurate picture. And,
And
and
as we know, everyone likes working around tools rather than tools work around them, right?
right, and it is true
No,
though.
they don't. They don't.
I mean, to some degree, it is true. As you drop the code, you get a lot of data, and yes, you get to see some value. But is that enough? Is that enough really to get the insights you need to drive real actions that will make impact immediately or in long term? But impactful actions, you need a little bit more. And that 20% that you need to do in addition to out of the box is where the secret for success is.
Which is a cornerstone of marketing 4.0, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And Justin, one thing we need to emphasize one more time is a lot of us, as we log into analytics, we see a lot of data. It's so easy to get distracted. We have
You're telling me.
certain objectives in mind every day as we sit on a chair and log in. But 5 minutes into our analysis, we find that oops, I have perhaps derailed from my thoughts and looking into some different problems. Or it's assuming to get to the right spot every time. As a result, if you are like me, even though you love your work, you often leave things that are unorganized for later time, uh, things that are not convenient to consume. So
Well, it's because you as an analyst, you don't have that luxury that the C-suite has where they can get a dashboard built by the analyst to just kind of filter out that noise. I mean, you're the one wading through the noise, and that's, not necessarily the best
it's
way
a,
to use your time.
yeah, so it's a chain impact, right? So your analysis takes longer time. Your analysis could not be accurate. Now, if you could map the analytics for interface as you log in precisely mapped with your marketing objectives, then I think the adoption could be facilitated. It could be a little bit more convenient. Now, with analytics, we're going to look at a few approaches how marketing could be measured. Traditionally, and in current times, one of the very popular marketing approach is ACEs: awareness, capturing intent, and educating and nurturing, and then sales and leads. This is very popular. And then we presented Marketing 4.0 a few weeks ago, where you have 5 different steps: aware, appeal, ask, act, and advocate. Sorry, is that 5 or 4? 5.
It's early in the year. We don't need to count.
Right. And a lot of us use actually, or whichever one you use, you should be able to map your measurement interface, which is in this case Google Analytics 4, that reflects to a certain degree as you log in immediately to this strategy, so that you can take faster decisions. The particular approach that we use is see, think, do, care. Justin, if you take a look at that, and this is a very um, robust one. We advocate very profoundly this one, and this is created by Avinash Kaushik. One thing that we really like about this approach is the last stage, care. It only considers a customer when the customer has purchased twice or more. The idea is that anyone can accidentally purchase the first time, and therefore they are probably not your confident customers yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been validated at that point. I mean, you want to make sure that there's someone who is coming back.
Right. So, looking at this particular model, we want to elaborate a little bit how you can capture data and how you can actually more. We're going to put more emphasis today how you can um, modify, mold Google Analytics 4 analytics interface to map this strategy. So, Justin, let's go to next slide. And I think it's probably my turn to. No, actually, let's do that a little bit later. And we do have
Yeah,
a
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, because before we can talk about display, we need to talk a little bit more about measurement and the additional measurements you can actually have in GA4 as opposed to Universal Analytics.
very true. A very powerful change that Google Analytics 4 has brought to us is the data modeling. If you remember, in Universal Analytics, you only had very limited capabilities of defining the action. In Google Analytics 4, each event can have up to 25 different artifacts defining that action, defining that event. So think about from the perspective of just a simple page view. You could actually define each page with 25 different characters, whether the page is long, whether the page is heavy in media, whether the page belongs to certain a specific purpose, what business reason for that page is. You'll be able to now characterize that page with all these different artifacts, up to 25.
And it's funny it's taken so long to get to this point, because in any other line of programming or technology, this is just metadata.
Yes, and now with this modeling, we also have to understand the new capabilities that will come in handy, be, such as machine learning, the data that we would be needing to curate to replicate the true action in the physical world or in the digital world now is possible because of all these variations of data. Now, to send qualitative data, there are more capabilities now as well. If you remember, in Google Universal Analytics, you could actually send hits through management protocol. In Google Analytics 4, you can as well, but the extra advantage now is that now you can send it at server level with a secret key, so that no one else can spam your data.
And I think this is really useful for certain e-commerce implementations because we deal with a number of sites that aren't so cut and dry as this is a store, I'm buying something once, we're checking out, the data gets sent, transaction's over. We're dealing with, monthly memberships, yearly memberships, and, if you're not measuring renewal time, which doesn't necessarily have a manual portion to it, chances are you're missing out on that data now. Um, so
Yeah,
things like this measurement protocol via the server helps us use actions like, for example, in our blue cap that's handled automatically by our Stripe every month. So Stripe actually does the renewal. So we can actually connect that to measurement protocol and send those actual hits or those events, sorry, I shouldn't say hits anymore. Those events to Google Analytics 4 so that your renewal data is there and whole.
yeah, and in other cases, it could be a CRM perhaps that would be sending the events back to Google Analytics for when those renewals happens, and so forth.
And I
But
believe you had an example with offsite pages as well, Fuad.
CAA if, yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we're dealing with a lot of websites have third party applications that they don't necessarily have very good control of the analytics with. However, they do have some options in the back end with measurement protocol to actually send this information.
Yeah, let me see if I could actually pull up one. For example, EasyLab.ai. We have a amazing example here. This particular interaction is happening offsite. And this offsite, even though you're seeing it in EasyLab.ai domain, we don't have much control in terms of what's happening in this particular experience environment. Our partner, Google, allowed us to connect with APIs so that we can actually, keeping the same session and so forth, we can actually use management protocol to send an event after the conversion happens so that we can, again, see the full view of the journey of our customer.
And time and time again, we see this where the iframed content is kind of a bane to a lot of marketers. So these back end options and alternative options to send information to Google Analytics is a boon for them.
Ah, oops.
Whoa, are we clicking the same things? So the more interesting part to this is platforms like Shopify do a lot of that work on the back end for you because I mean, in the previous example, that gives you the tools to build that interaction with Google. But however, Shopify has that out of the box.
Previously, calculating lifetime value was very difficult, and it still is to some degree. Um, Shopify has some cool advantages where without further additional coding, you'd be able to have lifetime value of your customer always updated should you implement a little bit of additional configurations. But with your in-house technical team, you should be able to implement your user ID and send customer lifetime value and update that. And that really improves your analysis very much because not only now you'll be able to understand the economic value of each customer, but these signals would actually go into many other places such as your Google Ads. And if you have smart bidding options, they would be benefiting from this kind of setups.
All right,
Furthermore,
one more measurement thing, right, Fuad?
yes. Now, if you want to go another step, and we really recommend, is let's leap into the profit model as opposed to revenue model in terms of your analysis. Your analysts would be able to understand and drive better profit if your reporting is based on profit. And now you can actually configure to configure GA4. It requires a lot of manual coding. There are third-party applications that allow you to easily implement profit-based e-commerce tracking as opposed to revenue-based. Imagine if you have a product A and product B has $1 profit, and product A has $10 profit. Which one do you want to sell more? And with this particular approach, you have a better understanding of profitability. And again, this also helps your other channels like Google Ads for smart bidding.
And I mean, let's also consider the machine learning applications for this as well, right?
Absolutely. Your own custom models and so forth.
Oops.
All right. Now we're
Now
going to. Sorry, go.
GA4 UI. Sorry, Fuad, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Now we're going to look at how you can easily configure, modify your GA4 UI to map your marketing strategies, whether that is the ACEs that we talked about, or whether that's see, think, do, care that we particularly use in our marketing strategies. Let me see if I can share my screen. One second. And we'll go through creating one report to show you how you can, right after this video, do it for your own organization as well. Now here,
Load.
as you log in, you are on your dashboard. You would be clicking on reports. And for me, I have multiple sections here. Life cycle, which is you also see out of the box as soon as you log into your Google Analytics 4. I have this section here that I mapped for our marketing strategies. Now, if I click on C, I see a number of other reports that falls into my C strategy within my total marketing approach. If I click any of this, I would be looking at that particular report that I created to see within my.
And in C, you're looking at users who are, is this first time users? Is this people who are just coming on a whim?
Right. So for those who are not familiar with this marketing measurement approach, C is your largest qualified addressable audience. And your measurement strategy shows how effective are you reaching out to them. And the yes, and how can you improve that? So here in this particular tab, see acquisition channels, I am trying to understand all the users who are discovering different channels. That's it. I don't need to know their conversions and so forth, although I it's great if I have certain columns
It's
visualized.
very unlikely these people are going to convert, though. This is their very first touch point with you.
Right. So C is really the top of the funnel, your largest qualified audience. And as you have reached out to them, exposed to them, um, uh, what is your measurement looks like? And
And
you
I mean,
and
ultimately, your goal with these people is to get them into the next part of the funnel, which is thinking about buying such a product.
precisely. So part of my C strategy, I also want to see what are the different keywords out there where that allows my brand exposure on Google. And that's also part of my addressable. Yeah. And I also want to look at now I didn't want to show you guys my paid strategies and all those, so I'm hiding some of the tabs here, but you'd also want to look at your non-branded keywords from paid marketing and so forth, and how you are positioned, where you're positioned, what ranking, what is the click-through rate, and so forth. Makes sense. And then in Think, you're looking at your audience who are thinking about your product or services, not just your product or services, but as a whole, the product and services that you sell, and how they're interacting as you have brought them to your site. How are they interacting with your business as they're thinking of these products and services?
And ultimately, your goal with these people is to start hitting them with more targeted advertising and
Right,
messaging.
right. And do is the audience who are ready to purchase. These are the audiences who are adding items to their cart, putting their credit cards, and purchasing the products or services that you have to offer. And care is you want to see the audience, uh, the customers who have made businesses with you more than once with you. You really want to do a whole different level of marketing with them.
Yeah, you're considering past purchases. You're considering have they responded to my promotions, things like that.
Right. Now, Justin, did you notice something here? I think I put it somewhere here, which is under think, I believe. Yeah, Google is showing bounce rate. I don't think it's been published yet.
What is this? This is I've heard both you and Avinash now say that bounce rate is the worst thing in the world. Why is it
Um,
back?
yeah, well, I think it's an user demand.
I have seen the forums crying, "We need our bounce rates. We need them for some reason."
Lot of our customers actually, in the last few months, until bounce rate was available very recently, I believe it just, not sure exactly when, they made us calculate the bounce rate. So we did come up with a calculated metric, but now you have bounce rate right out of the box,
So
which
there's clearly an anxiety there then.
well, I think let's take a look at it from this perspective. If I can go to a page to help us understand how see, think, do, care is a little bit different from the other marketing frameworks, because it really pushes us to think from the content perspective, in terms of whether we are entertaining, whether we are providing, facilitating the buying journey of our customers to the right content at the right stage or not. And we will see that, Justin, if we can switch back to our presentation. I think I have a slide that may show us what kind of content channel in the marketing mix you need to have depending on the marketing stage. So in the C stage, display would be one of the largest channel for you to use in order to intervene your potential qualified audiences journey in front of them.
Mhm.
And PPC or search would be right after that, maybe orchestrated in a way that serve, you create the demand through display. You show multiple ads telling them a story, and finally they know who you are and they start searching. But that's probably a small micro portion of the
Yeah, because this is your widest audience, so you wouldn't want to be doing PPC to grab everyone in the universe. That would be nonsense.
right, and SEO and so forth. And as you can see, as we go down in the funnel, email becomes a primary channel. of marketing. Now, if you look at this overall, and let's take a look at, let's see if I can pull up a page here. Give me a second and then I'll share. Remember, see, think, do, care. If you consider that framework, and if you design the journey, or even at a page level or at a session level interaction, then your content suddenly becomes better aligned, and it becomes from your customer's perspective than looking at from your business's perspective. And why I say that is because if you look at the other frameworks, ACEs, it's really looking at the entire strategy from the business's perspective, and it doesn't reinforce the delight from the customer's perspective. See, think, do, care. It looks at the strategy from the customer's perspective. And let's take a look at this page, how we can apply that framework to ensure that we are satisfying all of our audiences who are in the see stage, audiences who are in the do stage, think stage, or even care stage, or maybe not. Care stage could often become more intimate. You are taking them to a whole different level of interactions. Direct, often we see businesses now, large or small, they have Slack communications between
Hmm.
customers. They have dedicated pipeline of communications and so forth.
You can even text some companies.
Right? Now, let's go through this page. Let's say I'm in the C stage. I come to this particular page. I learn um, exactly what you do at UC Lab. I'm not ready to do. I am nowhere near in the do stage. I learn and I go here, I keep learning, and then I leave. But what is my 30-day plan, my 90-day plan, my 180-day content plan for Fuad, who was in the C stage, who, who did not think much, who did not do anything on my website that indicates business action. And of course, I'm nowhere near in the caring stage either. Now it really reinforces me to think as a business owner, did I give Fuad uh, the, uh, the resources there to start thinking on this topic? Yes, Fuad knows that he does. He does these things, but did I have a white paper there to download? Did I have an assessment for Fuad to go through and understand where Fuad is in the journey of his retail business transformation? Did I give Fuad uh, case studies? And if Fuad didn't look at these things, do I have if I go back to my slide here, I believe here.
I got it. I got it.
Oh, there we go. Do I have my display marketing back to Fuad to re-exposing the thinking part, which is the case studies, and so forth and so forth. So it really helps me understand the gap in content and go back to my journey touch points and rethink and reimagine and fill the gaps of content and align with my marketing strategies, and going back to analytics to see how the measurement of that is doing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand, this type of thinking before we can get into the actual measure or the viewing, of it, because the objectives have to be pretty clear here. So, all right, we're running on 30 minutes here. Let's show the folks out there how to customize the dashboard a little bit.
Oh, we haven't done that yet. The most important part.
I know they've all been waiting with bated breath.
All right. Well, once let's start from simple. We'll go through it very fast. So let's say you're in your life cycle, which where you probably are, where you are usually. So if you click on any of this report, there is an amazing little button here on the right that will load right here, and you can click on it, and you get a number of dimensions, cards you can add, you can remove. We have a lot of options here. Let's see, we're gonna
Now,
add.
side thing here, Fawad.
Right.
Do you think this is ever going to turn into a marketplace like we've seen with other Google tools? Like, are we going to be able to install third-party data there?
I don't see why not. Right. So I just added one, but that's just a very simple thing I tried to show you. But let's go back to how you are going to be adding, just like I did, a particular menu and very custom reports and stuff, which is just like this one. I will have to go to library. And this is where all the secrets are.
Ooh, collections. I always love things with collections.
And collections is what you actually saw on the left hand side, where you'd be able to put a collection of reports, custom or out of the box, as you create them. So the particular one that you saw is right here. I could edit this, or I could actually create a new collection. Let's click ACES. Let's capitalize it. Oh, and as they call it, awareness. These are topics, subfolders.
Mm.
Then I'd be creating.
There's a lot of Firebase in this, Fawad.
Look, yes. Educate, nurture, sales, leads. Okay, so this is where your your out of the box reports or your custom created reports will be available for you to just drag and drop. But if you have to remember that if you have a custom report in mind that you would like to put in any of these topics, you'll need to create it first, and then you'll have the ability to drag and drop. So let's say I created a few custom ones. Let's say I'm going to bring this capture leads. That should be an awareness. Yes. There we go. E-commerce. I'll put it here. That's a bug. It wouldn't go. There we go. Queries. That should be under awareness. But you get the point. Let's click save. And then over here, we have to remember to publish it. The boxes come a little bit later.
Mm.
This is ACES. I have to click this 3 dot to publish.
Boom, there it is on the left.
Do you see it right here? Now, the other 2 tabs didn't come because I didn't put any reports in those topics. But here's awareness, queries. It's loading, and I'll be showing quickly how we can actually add more metrics and dimensions right from here. So this is my queries. And if I click edit, my metrics are here. Let's say I want to add certain metrics here. You'll be able to add them from here. And dimensions. Oh, the reason you see gray because they're not available. This is search queries, as you know. For privacy reasons, you can't have certain dimensions blended with other dimensions. You could have your dimensions from here, same reason, but let me choose another report so we could actually get you a little bit more landing page. Excellent. Let's click edit. And here you can add, remove dimensions. So I want to add, let's say, gender. Click apply. There we go.
So you could be tracking multiple strategies at once here, and pretty much anything you want with this customizations. Just customize a collection for whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. I could add a
That definitely
few.
lets you filter out the noise we talked about at the very beginning. And that's one of the big complaints about universal analytics is that it's very cluttered, very noisy. So you can actually make nice, clean interfaces, objective-based interfaces that are easy to use.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just make collections for a specific individuals, right? So Fuad does this. This is Fuad's collections.
This is all Fuad cares about. Well, it's interesting you say that because there are functional teams in analytics that are not marketing teams. I mean, we work with the Arts Council. They have a functional team that's all about how websites work, how users flow from page to page. Not necessarily a marketing problem, but a UI, UX problem.
Absolutely. Um, Precisely, the technical team has very specific requirements, what they want to see. They don't need to navigate through all of this. I could actually hide all of this and just have only one tab available for one individual, and that's all that they could care about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Fuad, what is the last thing you want everybody watching to know?
Well, the last thing is it's really, really important. Thank you for staying this long. If you want to have these slides, always give us a shout, and we would love to share all these slides. Now, we want to go back that what we showed you is definitely powerful in terms of consuming insights from analytics 4 perspective. But the three main problems in marketing are the data silos. This doesn't yet solve your data silos problems. You still have to bring your Facebook, your all other different activities happening. Also, your other business activities that are happening in supply chain and so forth. And then really you have the ability to fully understand and leverage in the predictive era that we often talk about in marketing world. So remember that.
Uh, we still need Looker then.
Yes. I mean, this is what it looks like in terms of marketing, data, interactions, physical world, digital world. Um, yes. So yeah, the proper. Is there a really loud noise from me?
There's a little bit of construction noise going on behind you, Fuad, but it's not too bad.
My apologies for that. All right, so this is what it could look in terms of getting all the data, blending them, joining them, and making sense. um, yeah, so that's basically it. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have an amazing workshop coming on January 24th where we help you build custom models under 3 hours for customer propensity, customers likely to make a purchase, customers likely to whatever event you choose from your analytics, and then you can actually send those custom audiences, activate them immediately in Google Ads, in other particular touch points like emails and so forth, and deliver amazing experiences to convert them faster. That's happening on January 24th in Ottawa. It is actually a in-person event, but we will soon have many virtual ones. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.